All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 625 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. Jumping back to Georgia Southern, and we're going to talk about a quick snippet of what Brian Ellis said. If you don't know who Brian Ellis is, he is the assistant coach, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach for the Georgia Southern Eagles. And I noticed this for probably ever since Coach Clay Helton stepped foot on Georgia Southern campus. But if you haven't really been paying attention, or if really, if this is your first time here listening about Georgia Southern football, Georgia Southern is not a run-first team anymore. We went through a whole year not running the ball first. We end up passing a whole lot. And Kyle Vantrease broke some records, threw for over 4,000 plus yards. He also was like top 5 or top 3 in the nation in yards of passing. A lot of things changed at Georgia Southern because we're definitely was a run-first team. We were very dominant with the run. A lot of teams couldn't stop it no matter how hard they tried. It was a nightmare for a lot of teams. But now we're changing things, and I'm going to talk about this little quick clip I saw on Twitter to pretty much back up what I've been saying about not Brian Ellis, but Georgia Southern, because I like what I see here, and it's going to be successful going down the road. It really is. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Stitcher will be going down in the coming months, so if you are listening on Stitcher, please be advised you may want to jump over to Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts. I think they're switching over to Pandora. I'm not 100% sure, but the word on the street is that, Stitcher is going down. So I can be also found on Twitter at VF Baller. I talk about things there that don't really make it to the show. I talk about music and all these other things. I just go a little different area of not just Georgia Southern and the Falcons. I talk about other things as well. So you can catch me over there. Also, the website is firstandframerates.com. Firstandframerates.com. You can go over there and subscribe to the podcast and support the podcast as well via Cash App or I think PayPal as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Brian Ellis was on the Georgia Sports radio network. I think it's the East Georgia Morning Show. Shout out to those guys. 94.9 The Eagle. If you want to listen to Georgia Southern football, it's one of the places to go. Especially during the season, if you want to hear the phenomenal commentary, play-by-play commentary over there. I mean, those guys, Danny Reed and them, they do a phenomenal job. And so they had Brian Ellis on the show, and they were basically just, talking about what is going on with the Georgia Southern Eagles, how they're progressing with new personnel, the whole change up from what they used to do. Georgia Southern was definitely an option run offense, and they switched over to an air raid, and it was fairly successful. I will say this. In this clip, they're going to talk about a little bit about Kyle Vantrease, and don't get me wrong, I love what he's done for the program. He's going to go down in history as, one of the best, one of the best Georgia Southern Eagles that ever played a game. But there were times where I kind of questioned some things. But once he got his footing, he got set in his ways, and he was able to command and take care of the offense. It was a beautiful thing to see. I mean, you see the 578 that he threw at against James Madison, the touchdown pass to end the game against Appalachian State, the clinic that he put on when he played against Nebraska, when he went for the revenge game. I mean, it was a lot that was there that we really had some memorable moments. So nothing to take away from him, but overall I was a little nervous because it was our first year running this offense, but he managed himself very well overall. I kind of wanted to turn down those turnovers a little bit, but overall I love what he did. So in this clip, they're going to talk about what's going to be going forward for the Georgia Southern Eagles at the quarterback position. And I'm going to come back and give you my thoughts on where this program is going. Because I think that going forward, we've already put the Sun Belt on notice, and the more talent that we get, offense and defensively, we're going to be in a position to really shock the Sun Belt. I mean, I really believe that. I mean, don't get me wrong, these other teams are getting better as well, but I love what we're doing here. And what we're doing here, a lot of teams can't stop. I mean, we got receivers, we got tight ends, we got running backs, and we got quarterbacks, not just one now. You have quarterbacks that can actually execute this game plan that Coach Brian Ellis is putting out there. So I want to hit this clip, and I'm going to give you my thoughts after this. So here we go.
How lucky was it to get a Kyle Vantrease? I mean, we only had him for 1 year, but man, what a difference maker he was.
Absolutely. Our offense starts and ends with the quarterback position. We're a very quarterback-driven offense. We're going to, I talk all the time, we're going to look different every year that we have a new quarterback, because what we try to do is fit the game to what he can do. And it doesn't matter if you got great wideouts and good O-linemen and good backs. If the quarterback can't execute and get you in and out of the right plays and the things that we're trying to execute on offense, then you're not going to be very good. And so we have always, you watch us throughout the years. I think that's one of the best things that we've done year in and year out is be unique to that guy.
So he's basically saying the quarterback is the most important position on the field. And I think that's a cliche. Everybody knows that. The quarterback position is going to be the guy. Even when we was running the spread, or we was running the spread option or the triple option, the quarterback was the decision maker where the ball's going to go. And same thing in the air raid that we're running now. And one thing that kind of jumped off at me is that he said that they're going to play to the quarterback's strengths, which is really interesting to me, because a lot of guys that they're trying to bring in are guys with, cannons for an arm, guys who can throw the ball, guys who can really put the ball downfield. I would be really surprised if they bring a dual threat quarterback in here. Now, I would love it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, because I think the college game is, for that type of quarterback. But I don't think the strength is going to be too much with the legs. Don't get me wrong. They're going to be mobile, but not the dual threat type of mobile that you will expect, where a guy's going to be, let's say, for instance, a Michael Vick, or you're going to have a guy that's going to be more of a Lamar Jackson type. You're going to have a guy who can move around, but he can still be able to throw the ball around the field. Kind of like a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type. You're going to have a guy with that, not necessarily the talent, but the somewhat of a skill set that can do a little bit of both. So this is where this team is going, I believe, and the team's going to be successful. You see a guy like Kyle Vantrease who didn't mind running the ball a little bit. I mean, he did have the game-winning touchdown against Nebraska. And then you have a guy coming in like Davis Brin, who may not be as mobile, but then you have other guys that are in here that can move around a little bit. I think Kobe Walton is a guy who can move around a little bit that's going to be here. Colton Fitzgerald, know that he can move around in the pocket, but I don't think it's going to be that skill set that's going to be here. So I know a lot of people look at Georgia Southern and they be thinking that are we going to still be able to run the ball in that old fashion? I don't think that's going to be. I don't think it's going to really be that prominent as it was before. I think we're going to be throwing the ball down further down the field more. We already threw for 4,700 yards last season. We're probably going to be going up to I think it was 45. I can't remember. But I think we're going to be going up to 49, 5,000 yards. This team can do it. If you've seen what the offensive weapons that we have, it could be attainable. You got a running back that can catch out the backfield. I think you got a couple of running backs that can catch out the backfield. You also have 4 or 5, maybe 6 receivers that can, really get some separation. Then you got 3 or 4 tight ends. It's going to be a problem for the Sun Belt. So you're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road. What do you expect from Georgia Southern? Well, I put it like this. They started off at 6-7. And then, after a 3-9 season, if they continue to go this route, I mean, you're looking at 3 wins under, the last regime. Then you get 6 wins in this one, 9 wins for the next season, 12 wins for the season. I mean, that's the trend that we're going at. I mean, I don't know what we're projected, how many wins, but I've seen some places that actually have us kind of down, but I think Georgia Southern is going to shock a lot of people once again. I don't think people realize the transfers, the guys that we brought in, the people that are on this team, they're actually pretty damn good. We bought some good Power 5 guys in. We've got some good Group of 5 transfers, and even some of the the kids that are the kids that was recruited. Those are guys, they're very talented as well. So it's going to be really cool to see. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. One more thing before I get out of here, I'm going to tell you right now, that guy that we just listened to, Brian Ellis, that's going to be the next coach to succeed Coach Clay Helton. When Coach Clay Helton call it, quits and is all said and done after I'll say maybe 5 or 6 years here at Georgia Southern. I think he's going to do maybe I would say anywhere between 5 and 8 years here at Georgia Southern. I don't see him leaving, anytime soon, especially if he continues this trend that he's doing. And right after that, Brian Ellis, I think he may be the guy in waiting. So I hope that's the case because I want a guy with this offensive mind to continue to be a part of this program. I think it's like Coach Clay Helton, Coach Brian Ellis and Ryan Applin. There's a couple other guys, Coach Jeray Thurman. You got these guys that are really on the offensive side of the ball that's really making things go. I mean, even the wide receivers and the running backs coach. I mean, the whole offensive staff has done a phenomenal job at turning this team around for what it was. Shout out to everybody that's over there, man. Especially, special thanks to Coach Jeray. Coach Jeray has been very supportive of the show. Shout out to him. I really, really love the fact that he's on Georgia Southern staff and he's making things happen. It is an honor to be, someone that I have had contact with, and he's been very, very, very supportive of the show, and I want to continue to, support his endeavors and his success with Georgia Southern because he's a great asset to the guys on that team. He's been phenomenal, but everyone else as well is just as good. Nothing to take away from anybody else. Everybody's been doing a great job, but I feel like everybody collectively is going to make this team successful. And what Coach Brian Ellis is saying, it starts with the quarterback. So I would like to see him continue what they're doing here. Once Coach Clay Helton decides to move on, which I think it's going to be a long time from now. But you want a guy like that to continue to be a part of this team and a part of this program. If you like this commentary, the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I am on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts. Check out the podcast on any of those avenues. Give me a 5-star rating on those on the Apple side. If you listen on Apple, and hit the like button if you're on YouTube or Rumble. Share this podcast. Like I said, let people know what we're doing over here. I want to thank you guys for the continued success. We're steadily growing. We're, every day people come and listen, and I always get pretty good feedback. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think about this topic. Coach Brian Ellis, what do you think he's going to, continue to take this team to new heights, or you have a little bit of indifference? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know on Twitter at VFBaller. Also, the website is personalframerace.com, and I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to get up out of here. It is about to be Friday, everyone. Enjoy the beginning of your weekend, and I'll be back with another episode on tomorrow. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.